Hello and welcome to another replica reviews video. Now today I've got something that I've been wanting to bring to your screens for so long. It is the nickel plated Baikal Makarov. Now for many years when I first started collecting and I first kind of came aware of the Baikal Makarovs, this was the holy grail. I remember seeing a video of it on Replica Airgun's page, and you know, it was one of very few made from, you know, back in the day, so to speak. And there weren't many of them around. I've never seen one come up on the second-hand market here in the UK. I can't say I've been looking every day for one as such, but you know, when I do have a quick look through, you can never find one. So thanks to the hard work of the team at York Guns, we have this gun in front of us today. Now I have to say I was really impressed at my firearms dealer as well. Guys called Pull the Trigger in Plymouth. They supply me with pretty much all of the air guns that I have to review, that I own, etc. And they were able to get one in literally within about 48 hours of these things being announced in the UK. So a massive thanks to them. Now, as I'm sure the first thing that you'll notice is they've changed the packaging. For anybody that's familiar with the older Makarovs, or even the Generation 5, so the more recent ones, they always come in cardboard boxes, whether it be plain brown or this newer design that they've been rocking with the Generation 5. You know, the same as the Viking as well that they do. So this is the new packaging, but now they've actually gone to hard cases, and as you can see, it's just got a little Baikal embossed logo on the top, and it, you know, it looks really nice. It's exactly what you'd expect from a plastic case, really. It's got some scribbles on the outside, and then when you do open it up to reveal the contents, it's pretty much just a standard squidgy foam case. Now, in true Baikal fashion, you do get some wax paper. It would not be a Baikal product if there wasn't wax paper hidden away somewhere. So a little bit sad, but it's nice to see they haven't ditched that completely. And also it stops the foam from getting on the side of the slide and the frame and everything like that. Because I have seen rumours floating around on forums, etc., that the foam can sometimes react with the metal on the gun and can tarnish it. Now obviously with a gun that's nickel coated, you don't want that being tarnished, because it obviously being so shiny, any imperfections are going to stick out like a sore thumb. So the moment you've all been waiting for, we'll move this out the way to reveal this rather nice nickel plated Makarov. But anyway, we'll come to that in a second. As you'd expect from any kind of Baikal product, you do get a spare seal. Hopefully you can just see that in behind my finger there. That's quite nice. It's always helpful to have. And also you get the obligatory copper plated BBs. Now a word of caution with the BBs, obviously with the barrel on the Makarov being rifled, I would personally recommend using softer BBs, whether they be the Gamma lead shot or any other equivalent, just because you know, it's often quoted, if you use steel BBs, your generic you know, your generic little ones that you can buy, you can end up damaging the rifling after a while. Obviously it's too hard for the rifling and it'll rip it out and it won't do your gun any good. So use the softer BBs. That's my only advice with these guns. And then obviously this rather gorgeous looking shiny nickel plated Baikal Makarov. So what we'll quickly do is just move all the packaging out of the way. I'll get it zoomed in so you can have a really good look at this gun, because it is absolutely gorgeous, and we'll carry on with the rest of the review. Okay, so here we have the nickel plated Baikal Makarov in all of its glory, and as you can see, it's a very, very attractive bit of kit. I'm a little bit of a sucker for nickel plated guns, and I'm a huge sucker for Baikal Makarov, so to combine the two for me, you know, you've pretty much got my ultimate air pistol here. Now looking at it, not much has changed in the grand scheme of things. Now there's been a little bit of debate on forums recently about what generation this one is, and also whether it's based on the PM or the PMM version. Obviously there's two different types, from what I understand. One's single stack, one's double stack, but I'm not an expert in that respect. So, you know, if you know better, feel free to comment below and just correct me, because I'd be really fascinated to know myself. But there's been a little bit of talk. The main one really is this the Gen 6? Obviously we've had the Gen 5 quite recently, you know, so is this the Gen 6? To be completely honest, at this point in time, I'm not entirely sure. It is stamped from 2014. I don't know if you can see the serial number reflecting through there. And also on the packaging, the actual box, it did come with a little label saying that it was checked off in August of this year. Obviously, you know, it was still in 2014. So I'm pretty certain this is one of the newer ones, because if you look at the Generation 5 Makarovs, I don't know if this is going to come out, you can see it's stamped for 2012. So this was supposed to be the latest one, stamped 2012. And then we've been presented with these rather nice looking bits of kit here, which are stamped 14. Now, without going into too much of the geeky detail as such, a lot of people are questioning whether this is actually Generation 6 or if it's a Generation 4 that's just been stamped with a 2014 serial number. The main reason I think for this is obviously the frame design, etc. And also, if I bring in a Gen 4, we're lucky enough to actually have one, they are very, very similar. The grips are almost the same. The only difference, this is using a gloss, very plasticky grip, whereas this is using almost like a matte rubberized type plastic grip. But the main kind of giveaway really is the actual slide cutout. Now, as you can see here, there's no ejection pin cutout, which correlates with the Generation 4 that I have. As you can see, the slide is exactly the same. Whereas if we look at the Generation 5 quickly, you can see that they had the ejection pin sort of cutout here, which, to be completely honest, I preferred. So, you know, without wanting to go too much into detail and having a proper full-blown debate on that, at this present moment in time, I'm not entirely sure what generation it is, so I'm just going to be referring it to as the nickel version. Now, as you'd expect from any Baikal kind of Makarov, this is a full metal construction. It does feel and weigh and act much the same as the actual real steel, which is very, very nice. And it's my understanding that it shares various bits and pieces with its real steel cousin. Now, I have to say, using this pistol, I've had it only for a while now, it's very agricultural. First off, the slide kind of feels like I'm ripping a gearbox apart every time I bring it back. I'm not really sure whether the quality control has, or where it hasn't existed, or whether it just has slipped through the net. But bringing the slide back, you can see that it's an incredibly kind of grating. There's almost a grating noise coming from it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a quick look and try and work that out. Now, quick apologies for the light changing. My lights have turned off, but anyway, we'll carry on. Safety catch obviously works as a decocking lever, which is quite nice, and then when it's in the rested position, it does act as a safety catch. It's not ambidextrous, which is a bit of a shame, but, you know, they never were. Marking wise, it's really nice. You've just got the simple MP-654k caliber 4.5mm, and then your serial number here. Now, what I really like is the serial number on the slide matches the serial number on the frame, which is very nice. And while we're on the subject of the frame, hopefully, as you can see, obviously being a nickel plated gun, they've also lightened the frame up. You can see here, obviously on the normal one, it's an awful lot darker. I really like that. For me, it just adds to the feel. I think if they had the normal black sort of frame on it, which was the worry when I first heard this gun was coming in, I don't personally feel that would have worked. But anyway, flipping it over is pretty kind of average for any kind of Makarov. Just the Made in Russia logo down the side and a little Baikal logo just embossed on the front, which again, really nice and minimal. And weirdly, something I have just noticed, there's no F. A lot of these guns, the earlier ones anyway, had the F for the little, obviously for the German market, just to prove it's a replica, etc. Now, the magazine, this is the bit that everybody kind of really wanted to see on the forum, and unfortunately I missed out in my last video. This is the magazine here. For anybody that really knows the stuff, they'll be able to tell straight away whether that's the PM or the PMM version. If you're interested to see a side-by-side comparison, if you give me 2 seconds, this magazine coming in now is the one from the Generation 5. As you can see, it's a lot skinnier. And then if I get the Generation 4 magazine out very, very quickly, and the lights are back on, you'll be able to see here they're almost identical. Now, a big gripe for me personally with the newer magazines is that unlike the older one, we had the lanyard attachment point here, which actually helped loading CO2. The newer ones have come with this screw. Now, very unusually for an air pistol or manufacturer, they haven't included a tool to tighten them up. So what I've been doing recently is just leaving a 20p coin or a 2p coin, whatever, actually in my BB tin, just so that I can, you know, tighten it up easier, because, you know, that, even if you try using your nail, really hurts. And I did make the mistake of trying. I'm not really sure why, but I did. So hopefully seeing the magazines there will help anybody that's, you know, a serious Makarov nut. One, help me work out if it's the PM or the PMM. I'm pretty certain this is going to be the PMM, which is the modernised one. But again, if I'm wrong there, feel free to correct me. Now, as you saw there, loading the magazine, this is my next gripe with this particular gun, is unless it goes in at exactly the right angle, it doesn't actually go in. It's quite an agricultural thing, and obviously getting to the release catch here is a royal pain in the ass. If you've got gloves on or anything like that, it is quite difficult to get to. As far as functions go on here, the slide release catch is fully functioning. As I said earlier, the safety catch here works as a decocker as well, which is quite nice. I do like that feature. Trigger is single and double action, so double action like so, and then you can cock it back either by just using your thumb or by racking the slide, and then like so. Now on single action, this is an incredibly nice trigger to use, and I have to say it's an absolute joy to shoot. I haven't actually put any rounds through this. I'm not sure if I will. I think I'm probably going to keep this one like my Gen 5 as a collector's unfired piece. I don't know, we'll see what mood I'm in. I'm kind of at that point where, you know, if I'm going to have a gun, I'm going to enjoy it and I'm going to use it. Now, one thing I have to say is the grips on this gun are so nice. Compared to my Gen 4, which kind of felt a little bit plasticky, it just felt a bit toy. They were too metallic. These dull, matte finished grips are really nice indeed. And I do like the modest kind of the markings on it. One thing I would change personally is a few of the adverts that I've seen floating around. People have used stock images and it shows it with the adjustable sights. Now I know there was a little bit of excitement on the forum for these adjustable sights. Now unfortunately, I'm really sorry guys, they are just your typical Baikal fixed sights. They are very low profile, and in certain respects they're incredibly difficult to kind of bring up quickly. But nevertheless, it's still really nice to use. It's a gorgeous little pistol, and quite frankly, it's one of the nicest ones I think I've bought in a long time. So what I'm going to quickly do is get the magazine back out. We'll move in for a closer look again, and we'll conclude the review. Okay, so that pretty much concludes my review at the moment for the new Baikal Makarov. As you can see, I've just put them next to each other. This is the Gen 5 and this is the new nickel, just so you can have a nice side-by-side look at them. I have to say I'm really impressed with this gun. Yes, it's a little bit agricultural and I will need to quickly check that out. I don't know if it just needs to go clean out or what's going on in there, but we'll have a look anyway. But I absolutely love it to bits. It's one that I've been trying to find for an awful long time, so as a collector it's really nice to finally have my hands on one. Now one thing I didn't show and I didn't really go into at the moment was that you could field strip this gun. It does field strip in exactly the same way. Just bring down the trigger guard and then you can field strip it as and when you please. Now I'll do that in a separate video for anybody that wants to see, because it's one of those things, it's a little bit time consuming, and then when it goes wrong you have to refilm everything. So I'll do that in a separate video. Now overall, if you're after a really high quality replica, you can still not go wrong with one of these guns. As far as manufacturing, production, quality, feel, everything, this is an absolute class leader. Now a few people will disagree with this. A lot of people say, you know, they're made in Russia by farmers that don't really know what they're doing, but they're never going to be perfect. They don't come with polished triggers and they don't come with really smooth actions or anything like that, but I think that's part of the appeal. You get a proper feeling gun. It's not perfect. Yes, it's got its flaws. These things are draped in history. I mean, if you look at any conflict or any communist power since basically the beginning of time, really, there won't be a Makarov too far. I mean, you look at even the North Korean soldiers these days, you'll still probably see a Makarov hanging off them somewhere. Officers in particular, Chinese army, etc. So, these things are still used, and as far as I'm aware, it's one of the longest serving service pistols in the world. Now, I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty certain it is one of the longest. Not the longest, but it's up there. And, it's a time-proven classic. Everybody knows the Makarovs. These things have been in James Bond films and countless other films. And, even if you watch various videos on YouTube of Russians taking out militants and stuff, they're still rocking around with these guns. So it's really nice to have something that is essentially just a kind of a piece of history as such. Now, it does have its imperfections, yes. It is very, very expensive. I think these things at the moment are retailing for $169.99, which is an awful lot to pay for a gun that hasn't got blowback, is incredibly fussy with what rounds it uses, and needs some TLC to get it feeling properly nice. But I think it's worth every single penny. Now, as far as I'm aware, it took the guys, or should I say the team over at York Guns, over 2 years to finally get these guns brought into the UK. So a massive thank you to them. I'm sure you've pleased many a collector. As far as I know, there's only a limited number coming in at first. I don't know if this is going to be the first shipment of many, or if it's just going to be a one-off thing. But either way, thank you for getting them in. And again, thank you to pull the trigger down in Plymouth. The guys managed to get these in so quickly for me. I was really impressed at that. I thought it'd take a couple of days, but no, it literally, I asked him to order it on the Thursday, I think it was, just before lunchtime. And, you know, I got a message at 1 o'clock on Friday saying, you know, James, it's in, it's ready for you to pick up. So I was incredibly impressed at the speed that it took to get this in. Now, if you want to see any more pictures, close-up stuff, hopefully so that the markings can come out a little bit better, because unfortunately the way the light is, it's just shining. It's just like a giant light bulb. So if you want to check that out, feel free to check on our Facebook page. I'll put a whole album up there for anybody to kind of look through and make your own minds up. Likewise, if you've got any questions, queries, comments, or if you've got any more information you just want to share with me, or if there's anything I've got wrong, feel free to post them in the comments box below. Constructive criticism is always welcome. It's the only way for me to learn, and unfortunately I do make mistakes from time to time, but hopefully I've got this as right as I can. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to subscribe, give our Facebook page a like, but until our next video, take care, and thanks again for watching.